I can hear you, Professor. Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving me the job. I suppose there's a few guidelines, a few rules, a bit of orientation that I need to be across of in the vernacular.
Yes. Well, Professor, induction is very, very important. So a key part of that induction is really you being able to elaborate the child safety standards. So are you able to walk us through your knowledge of those and how they're implemented in the classroom?
Well, I did have a conversation with your assistant headmaster back last term. Apparently, no stabbing, no hitting with heavy objects. No tripping. Like just stick your leg out and watch them fall onto other things. So none of that.
But, Professor, just to intervene there, they're all very sort of punitive type measures. So at our school, we like to take a more proactive and positive approach, possibly our values and token system and awards. What experience have you had in implementing those strategies?
Well, we did have one child, and his name was Seamus. He was from Ireland. Suppose he was the token Irish kid. So there's your tokens. What else? I handed out the Quidditch Cup one year. So I'm no stranger to giving out prizes. Students of the week. It's not really a thing that comes across my desk.
Sorry, Professor, that's not negotiable. That is something that you will need to come to terms with. So let's just try that now, Professor. If I had written a particularly good narrative about Quidditch and you were quite impressed, how would you phrase the wording of my student of the week?
Right. I would probably, quill in hand, write something like, "You did a good job. Well done, Johnny." I've been polite there.
That's an interesting start, Professor. When we give feedback, it's really important to be able to elaborate on elements of what was good. So recognising something's good is great, and then being able to go into that a little bit more detail. So obviously we'll have to set some goals for you around that when you do begin.
Well, I could expand on it and say things like, well, fantastic that you were able to grasp a pen and write on lines. Would that be something that would embolden them to do better next time? Would that give them enough confidence to perhaps submit more work?
Well, you're heading down the right track there, Professor. So for a junior school student, that would be appropriate feedback. And then obviously for a more senior student, we would go into a little more rigor and a little more depth. So now I just want to get a sense again, Professor. So your literacy block and your numeracy block. So the key foundations of learning in your classroom. What are some of the important practices that you'll have there ready to go day one when you walk into that classroom?
Listen, don't interrupt, do all your work, raise your hand if you need help and one of the other kids will help you. are they falling, onto the plate? Is that what you're reaching for? Is that they're the method you're subscribing to? The fact that they could read a book would be handy. Count pennies.
I think yes, and you're familiar with learning intentions and success criteria.
I'm familiar that they exist.
And you've used those extensively, of course?
Let's just say, of course.
Okay, good. Well, when I come into your room on that first morning, I look forward to seeing those clearly articulated on the board, ready for your students to use.
Oh, me too.